I had a friend called Jordan who once told me there were 2 holes in a donut, one on the top and one on the bottom. I had to tell him the only hole is the one in his argument. Hello, I'm Tara.
I'm Lawrence.
And we're on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the
pond.
That's my line, don't steal it. And one of those memos pertains to food, and specifically
apple cider donuts.
So apple cider donuts here in the United States, I understand, are a big thing at this time of year.
Yes, and it's not really just in the Midwest either, or the South. These originated, apparently, in the northeastern United States. Well, I'll tell you all about the history if you come to my channel, because there's a video up right now about the history of apple cider donuts, and it's not what you think.
Wait, you have a channel? Where's your channel?
Old Fashioned AF. So let's talk a little more about apple cider and why it's important.
Throw it at me, not the cider.
So apple cider, for as long as human history basically, has been brewed and used as an alcoholic beverage.
Right, that's how I know it.
And really so does most of Europe and Asia, because apples are popular the world over, and there are so many different varieties of them that honestly, like, every place has its own apple cidery history. But in the United States specifically, we decided to make non-alcoholic apple cider, which is very different from the rest of the world.
So for my British viewers, when you see us drink this cider on camera today, you won't see us getting drunk, although admittedly, it is hard to tell the difference.
Usually in the United States, this kind of drink accompanies apple picking, which is a very popular pastime in the United States in the fall. So these are usually hot beverages.
I was going to say, because I wasn't expecting this to be hot, and my hand was burning that whole time, but I was too polite to say anything.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's pretty good. That's pretty nice, but I should say that the point of this video, while it's nice to drink these hot beverages and everything, is more about something else, the donuts themselves.
Yes. So what we have here are lots of apple cider donuts, and you can see we have 2 different kinds. There's this kind, and there's this kind. These are what are called old fashioned, and they were actually handmade by me. And again, if you go over to my channel here in a moment, then you can see how I made these, and you can even make them yourself because I have an accompanying recipe on my blog.
She really is old fashioned.
But these are actually closer to probably what the first apple cider donuts were like.
Really?
This is an Entenmann's donut. And these are what I grew up with when I wasn't, of course, going apple picking. Usually, since apple cider donuts are actually made with cider, then they will be made in-house wherever you go apple picking.
All right, sounds good.
So each place has its own recipe. But these are the store-bought ones, and I think that's what you should try first.
All right, sounds good to me. And before I do, I just want to point out, we're in the month of October, which has 2 O's in it, 2 types of donut. Should be used for marketing purposes. Do you think that was the reasoning behind that?
Interestingly, I am not going to tell you the answer to that yet because that's in my own video.
All right.
But again, suffice to say, these are closer to the originals than my beautiful, wonderful homemade ones.
I mean, you'd just be a fool not to put 2 donuts in the word October. Actually, the word fool has 2 O's in it too. I just realised. All right, let's go ahead. So this is the bought one. This is the one you purchased from the store. Let's try that then.
So smell it first.
Smell it. Right, so it smells a bit like cinnamon. You all know my thoughts on that particular spice. Just trying to think about the icing as opposed to the cinnamon, but it does taste heavily of cinnamon.
Glaze.
Glaze. All right, whatever.
So what's the taste?
I mean, it's not overtly cinnamon, which is, I guess, something in its favour as regards me. It is still there, so it sort of overtakes any quality that otherwise would have had. And so therefore, I'd have to give the ones that were bought from the store only 3 Lorenzos out of 5. Do you think that's fair? I mean, what are your thoughts on this? You're the American.
What I find really interesting about these donuts is that there really isn't an overt taste of any flavor.
That's right.
It's sweet, it's warm, it's something that is, I don't know, like a comfort to me.
Okay.
But there really isn't like an apple flavor. There isn't a cider flavor. There isn't a cinnamon flavor even. Like, you're right.
Yeah.
They smell a little bit of cinnamon, but you don't taste the cinnamon as you're eating it, I don't think.
So they're middle of the road. They're 3 Lorenzos. I mean, I think we agree.
So now
it
the other
sounds
thing
like.
that you need to do with these,
Yeah.
before we taste the ones that I made,
Yeah.
is we have to give them the dunk test, because traditionally when you go and you eat apple cider donuts and you go apple picking, then you dunk them in the wonderful hot beverage when it's freaking freezing outside.
All right. So because we're getting close to that here in Chicago, we're still in fall, but it will be cold soon. So this is a good precedent to set, I suppose. So we've dunked it. This will add, I assume, some sort of apple cider taste.
Absolutely.
That was honestly quite absent from the original bite. So let's
Yes.
go again. Okay, so that does put it up a notch. I'd say it's now 3.64.
That's very specific. And then I think it's time for a palate cleanser, don't you?
Yeah, where do we keep those? That's the drinks. Yeah.
It's my very favorite thing.
It's good. I am going to put this down just for the purposes of time.
I feel like I say that every single one of these videos that we do.
What?
That this is my favorite thing.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, there
This
you
is
go.
my favorite thing. That's my favorite thing. You're my favorite thing. You're my favorite thing.
Shouldn't usually say that.
All right, so now it's time to try the homemade version.
You made these, right?
I made these myself.
Wait, you made these in this kitchen?
Yes, I
where,
did.
Where was I?
Look at my brand new kitchen, everyone. So these are homemade donuts, and this is probably closer to what you would get nowadays if you went apple picking at, an orchard.
Yeah, okay. Well, you wouldn't find these on a tree.
No, like I said before,
Yeah.
in-house. They make them in-house.
All right, I was busy trying to think about what I was going to say next. All right, well, let's try them then, see what
Okay,
they're
smell.
like. Smell first. Good
Also
note.
glazed, by the way. You don't have to glaze homemade ones. You can do cinnamon and sugar on them as well, and they're still wonderful.
Can you?
But I didn't do that for this time for you.
I have to say, it does smell good. Do you know what's coming out? Ginger. You haven't put ginger on this, have you?
Interesting. No, I did not.
Okay.
And it's weird that you should say that, because I tried air frying and baking these before I fried them as well.
Yeah.
They were kind of like gingerbread.
That's weird.
But there's no ginger in this recipe, so that's kind of a weird thing.
I have to say, I do like ginger, so this bodes well for the future. Bloody hell! Sorry, that's good. That's good. I genuinely don't like donuts, but this is a cut above. Pretty good.
A cut above.
Well, nobody cut it.
Yeah, no, the donuts are cut.
Well, I ate it with my teeth. What do you mean the cut?
Like I had to cut them out, kind of like cookies, in order to fry them.
Is that how you get the hole?
Yes.
I had a friend called Jordan who once told me there were 2 holes in a donut, one on the top and one on the bottom. I had to tell him the only hole is the one in his argument. But do you think there's some validity to that? I mean, what do you think?
It's just a hole. There's one hole.
What do you think? No, it's absolutely great. And do you know what else I think about this? The texture's better. To what most donuts are. Like, this is cakier.
Well, it is a cake donut. It's a batter that turns into a dough as you put the dry ingredients into it. It's both.
It's both. For those of you, for instance, who are from England like me and are less familiar with donuts, although I should say we do have donuts in Britain, they're just not as widespread as they are here. This could be a good gateway into donut eating. Not that I recommend doing it a lot.
No, I don't think that this is an everyday treat, even though it kind of has been for me this week.
Well, and to be fair, it does have one of your 5 a day.
Only barely. So taste then. Is
Yeah.
there anything that jumps out at you?
Well, again, smell-wise, ginger pops out, but I think taste, I'll just give it another go if you don't mind. Is that okay that I just be a martyr for this moment? Okay. Well, the glaze, obviously, is the first thing that kicks you, not literally, because if it did, I'd win. Kind of the cake taste.
Yeah.
Is it meant to be something else? Because if I'm meant to say something else, I can, if you want.
What?
Just for perfection.
He's ruining it. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to build up your product that you made.
What does set it apart, and what sets apart really any cake donut that's been fried homemade, is that softness in the middle, but then just the slight textury crunch on the outside.
Well, that's amazing. Thanks for this, wife. And this constitutes my lunch. I haven't actually had any yet. So can I have half of those?
Yes, but first you have to do your dunk test. We're not done yet.
We're not done with this yet. She always reminds me of the next step. And that's true in life, So let's do it. Which one was mine again?
I mean, I think you know.
Oh yeah, you've got the one with your initial on it.
Right.
Right, okay.
I die.
What? You're
I
right.
die of happiness.
I was prepared to call an ambulance.
Every time.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's happened before.
It has, but not in this circumstance. That'd be weird.
Yeah, every time I dunk one of these, the homemade ones, in the apple cider, I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of my day.
Get some prongs to pull it out. Mine fell in a bit. All that to say, I'm not sure that dunking on this occasion improved or made worse this particular donut. So I'm going to give this. She's standing right next to me, so I'm going to have to be. I'll go for 4.99 4.99 Lorenzos out of 5. Do you want? All right, 5 then. Do you want 5 Lorenzos out of 5? And I don't think I've ever done that before. I have, but not for a while.
He seems like he's joking right now, but these are legitimately good, so
Amazing. I'm not joking.
you should seriously check them out on my blog.
Her channel's better than mine, as you can probably tell.
Right, so that's it for this episode of Lost in the Pond.
That's my line. We've already been over the protocol. That's it for this episode of Lost in the Pond. As I said, I'm Tara.
I'm Lawrence, and I'm going to go and spike some apple cider because it's the American thing to do.
What? Well, she's gone, but this video was made possible by my patrons who do not get the recognition they deserve. If you would like to become a patron, you can do so at patreon.com/lostinthepond. Until next time, goodbye.